How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Reagan Harrell, former very average punter at the Weber International University located in Babson Park, Florida. That is former All-American shortstop at the Midland University. Carly, before we get into all the softball talk, boy, we have got a phenomenal interview for the
Yep.
folks with Coach Dayna Carter from Johnson University. But first off, Carly, let's talk a little hoops. Final Four was electric.
I
Unreal.
didn't get to watch any of it, and
Oh, you had the gala. You had the gala.
yeah,
Well,
yeah. But
well
I
give
heard
us
the
a
Duke and Houston one was crazy. I
it.
saw some of the stats from like the time left on the clock and how much Houston was down by, and for them to come back and take it. I mean, I'm Duke's biggest hater, but
Oh,
still
it
crazy.
it was a great hate watch in Frostproof, Florida, on
Ooh.
Saturday night. I enjoyed it quite a lot. But Carly, real quick, what's the score prediction for the game tonight?
Um, I can't remember what I put in my bracket. I'm gonna go 79 6 79 73.
Who?
Houston.
Houston? Houston.
Yeah.
I'm rocking with the Cougs in my heart, like and in my bracket. How about an 88% bracket? How about a daggum
That's pretty dang
88%?
good.
That's pretty good. If I would have just picked Auburn instead of Michigan State in the Elite Eight, I'd have been north of 90. But you know what? Be thankful for what you got, folks. I so I want Houston to win. Plus I'll win a little bit of money from a bracket challenge. It's awesome. Me and my boy, it all comes down to this. He picked Florida over Houston. I got Houston over Florida.
Mm,
However, objectively, Walter Clayton Jr. I think is going to be just a little too much. I'm going to go 72-69 to the Gats, but we'll see. But Carly, before we talk any NAI softball, got to tell you about our great friends over in California, Magna, drinkmagna.com. Carly, you and I both have the mint lemonade. It is absolutely phenomenal.
phenomenal.
I've been giving these free samples out like hotcakes. People are loving them. People are ordering them. They're getting different flavors. I'm excited about it. Works, folks. I mean, look, we will never come on here and like try to sell y'all stuff that we don't like. Like if we didn't like this, we would have canned it.
Cut.
Yeah, we would have canned it, but it tastes great. It genuinely has helped give us a little boost of energy. Carly, you like using it in the evenings, kind of do the recording and then helps you calm down a little bit. But what is Magna? Magna is the world's first triple magnesium electrolyte powder. Why should you be taking magnesium? Well, 75% of us are deficient in magnesium. Lord knows we were in that 75%, Carly.
Yep. Yep.
Without enough in our bodies, you can experience poor sleep, bloating. I feel a little belly, the little,
You feeling a
uh,
little skinny?
feel a little,
A little snatched?
a little, you know, look, the NARP
Okay,
life,
diva.
the the NARP life, it'll get to you a little bit, but you get you one of those magnets. It helps with the bloating. It helps with focus, energy, recovery. With the electrolytes, helps you with hydration. Magna does more than any other electrolyte powders with its three types of magnesium. Magnesium 1 theraninite for focus, magnesium malate for natural energy, and magnesium glycinate for recovery, plus electrolytes for maximum hydration. Magna is science backed and trusted by leading doctors, professional athletes, and it contains zero sugar. It's gluten free, caffeine free, and NSF certified. It comes in 5 delicious flavors: watermelon lime, lemon lime, iced tea lemonade, apple juice, and mint lemonade. And the best part of all, you can go to drinkmagna.com. You can click the link in the YouTube or podcast description, drinkmagna.com. You get your order, you put in code NAIASB 15. So the name of the podcast and 15. Again, that's drinkmagna.com. Get your order in the cart, code NAISB 15 for 15% off your order. Carly, we got a phenomenal interview with Coach Carter, but it was Truett McConnell getting two phenomenal games from them in a crucial AAC doubleheader.
Yeah. I almost feel bad talking about it after this great interview we had with Coach Carter.
Yeah.
But Truett does take two from Johnson. They take game one 4-3. They were actually down 3-0, bottom of the seventh. They'd load the bases with one out. Top of the lineup provides for Truett in this game. Emmy Souter would start the scoring. She reached on an error. Isabel Sullivan would bring in another run, and then Cassie Boatwright would double to bring in a run. There was a runner tagged at home, but that wouldn't matter. Kendall Gibson would call ball game with a game-winning RBI single to right field. So those would be the RBI recorders for the game, and then Rachel Morgan would get the win in the circle. She goes 3 1/3 with 6 hits, 3 earned runs. Elizabeth Bennett earns a save, going 3 2/3, 4 hits and 7 strikeouts in her innings of work. Game two, another close one that came down to the final innings. It was 3-2 in 8 innings, knotted at 2 through 3 innings. The game would head to extras. Bottom of the eighth, Isabel Sullivan again would deliver a single to right field. This time to walk it off, she would finish the game 3 for 5 with an RBI. Haley Chronic had a double and 2 RBIs. And then Kendall Gibson getting it done on both sides of the ball, 2 for 4 with a run and a double, as well as earning the win in the circle, going 6 1/3, giving up 6 hits, striking out one, and allowing just 2 earned runs.
Before we head into the next game, I meant to start the episode with this. Carly, we're heading to San Antonio, baby. I am
Ah,
so excited. Now it's not much surprise on the podcast side. We have posted it. Shout out Connor Darnell, Chef Darnell, absolutely cooked on the graphic. Have you seen it yet?
no, I haven't looked yet.
It's pretty fire. Check it out real quick. But I'm super excited. Heading out Thursday, be there Friday and Saturday. Friday they got a doubleheader with LSUA, top 10 matchup there.
Banger.
Phenomenal. And then we got a top 20 matchup with them taking on Texarkana. So really excited for that.
That's a
For,
fire graphic.
dude, he cooked. He
That's
he
awesome.
he is great. But let's talk about the series that gave Marsh his
Put
first
Marsh, put
loss of the
Marsh in the
year.
losing column.
Man, oh man. He after starting 6-0, Marsh is now 0-1-2 in his last three picks. I've taken the blame for the two ties. You know,
Yep.
I should not have put him in that situation where he could tie. However, this one, I looked right at him. Love Coach Al. I love my Yotes, but I said, buddy, you just took your first loss when he picked Eastern Oregon, and that he did. The
Yeah.
Mounties, phenomenal games. Four great games in Caldwell, Idaho. Game one was a nice old pitch. There's Marsh barking right now. He's pissed, but
He
it
knows you're
was.
talking bad on him.
Yeah, might actually be a couple of the boys over coming to watch the national championship tonight. But anyways, let's talk about it. Game one, 2-1 to the Mounties. First inning, it would be Hannah Tyree delivering an RBI double to center field. Then Madison Olson to follow up with an RBI single. And that would be all the scoring Eastern Oregon would need for Kylie Parsons. We've said it. This is a top 5 arm in NAI softball. She's been great all year. Still stays perfect in the win-loss column, improving to 9-0. She only allowed 4 hits, gave up 1 run, struck out 6. Did not issue a walk in 7 innings, and she had to be that way. 2-1 ball game. However, in game two of the doubleheader, the bats would certainly come to life. It would be Reagan Kilpert, the freshman, going 4 for 4. She scores 3 runs and an RBI, leading the offense. Emily Berry drove in 3 as well, including a 2-run shot. And Hannah Tyree, who continues to be one of the best players in NAI softball this year, touching the plate 3 times. Durham added an RBI single as well. It was pitched by committee, which we've seen a good little bit from Eastern Oregon in games where they don't have Parsons start. Camille Schmitz, apologies, would earn the win in relief, tossing 3 1/3, only allowing 4 runs on 6 hits. And then Taylor Brewer would close the deal, getting the save in the 7th. Game three was the only game that got a little out of hand. Anytime Eastern Oregon puts up 7 for Parsons, you can just about count it up right there. She's now 10-0 on the year, only gives up 4 hits and 9 strikeout performance. It would be Kilpert again, who had a phenomenal weekend against College of Idaho with 3 hits, including a double. Hannah Tyree continues to stay hot, 2 RBIs. And Reagan, again, Reagan Kilpert, 3 for 4, a pair of RBIs, pair of doubles. Phenomenal stuff there. Game four. College of Idaho got that one. Now, of course, in Cascade plays the first 3 games that count in conference play. It would be Ashlyn Nixon with a 3-run home run to get it started. I've heard interesting things about a couple calls in that one, but we're not going to get into
Eh.
that. Yeah, we're not going to get into that. Eastern Oregon would put up 2 in the second. Tyree would tie the game in the third. College of Idaho would retake the lead in the fifth on a Nixon double. And Powell with the sac fly to score. Iverson made it 5-3. Drew Williams really solid in relief, 4 1/3, allowing 2 hits of shutout ball. Carly, let's stay in the Cascade with British Columbia taking a big one against Oregon Tech.
Yeah, they about gave him a scare. Like you said, they only count the first three, so winning that first one was that was really big for them. But they would take game one, 14-8. They would have two monster innings.
And
What's that?
and I was gonna say, like, if you tell me British Columbia takes one from Oregon Tech, I'll be like, all right, cool. They got them like a 2-0, 1-2 kind
No,
of
they
scenario.
pounded it.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, behind two monster innings, they had 6 runs in the fifth and 7 in the sixth. Tech with 3 errors, but I mean, still putting up 14 runs. Kennedy Laird had a monster game, 3 for 5 with 2 runs, a double, a grand salami, and 6 RBIs to her name. Caitlin Ang had 2 RBIs, and then Keona Nordquist with 2 doubles and 2 runs scored. Shea Seaver would earn the win in the circle, going just 2 2/3, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, and a strikeout. But then Oregon Tech would bounce back. They would finish the series strong. They take game two, 2-0. They score in the first 2 innings. And when you got Casey Schmidt in the circle, that's all you really need. Nita Cook had a phenomenal series, 2 for 3 with a run, a double, an RBI, and a stolen base. Sawyer Stenson was 2 for 3. And then Casey Schmidt in the circle, 7 innings, just 2 hits, 2 walks, and 6 strikeouts. Game three was all Oregon Tech. They would win it 9-1. They would score 8 in the first inning, and that's pretty tough to come back against the Owls.
Yeah.
Nita Cook again, 3 for 3, 2 runs, a double, and an RBI. Zoe Allen was 2 for 3 with 2 RBIs, and then Pakia Milborn and Marla Goodspeed would each record 2 RBIs. Casey Schmidt again, 4 1/3 innings of work with 2 hits, 1 earned run, and then 2 walks and strikeouts. Game four was a little bit closer, 5-4. UBC would tie it in the seventh. They score two, but Oregon Tech would rally in the bottom of the seventh with a JC Seaver RBI single for Nita Cook. Nita Cook again, 2 for 4, 2 runs, a double, a stolen base. JC Seaver, 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs. Zoe Allen, a double and an RBI. And then Jenna Gordon would she would work 6 1/3 innings, 6 hits, 4 earned runs. But Allie Parker would get credited with the win going 2/3 of an inning.
Yeah, we'll see in the NAISB media / Massey poll if that loss will affect Oregon Tech at all and our voting. But another one that could shake things up now. Granted, Southern Oregon took 3 in the series run roll wins against Corbin, but Corbin beating Southern Oregon 9-8 it was absolutely crazy. Nobody had that one on their bingo card, but I had to mention that one real quick. Even though again Southern Oregon won the series or swept the series in the Cascade play, Corbin, credit to them getting a program defining win against Southern Oregon 9-8. Carly, let's head out of the Pacific Northwest, and we got to talk about the hottest team in NAI
Dude,
softball right
the
now.
hottest team.
Yeah, Middle Georgia State. They sweep William Carey, who's spiraling right now.
Yeah, Middle Georgia State's got pretty sure it's a double-digit win streak going on right now.
I think it's up to like 14 or 15. I'll check that while you talk about these
Yeah,
games.
absolutely crazy. But yeah, two big wins over William Carey. They score first in the first inning. They take on two more. They tack on two more in the fifth. Madison Cosgrove, 2 for 3, 2 runs, 2 doubles, and an RBI. and then Kaylee Oliver and Grace Avery would each record an RBI. Emily Proctor, having a phenomenal year in the circle. She's got a complete game, giving up just 5 hits and striking out six, and their 3-0 win. Game two a little bit closer. Um, they were actually down 2-1 in the bottom of the seventh. Middle Georgia would load the bases, and then Madison Cosgrove, who's also having a phenomenal year, would single to score a run, tie it up, and then Kaylee Oliver would walk it off, taking one for the team with a hit by bases loaded, hit by pitch, RBI. Madison Cosgrove, an RBI. Kaylee Oliver with two RBIs, and then Emily Proctor again getting the full work in the circle. 7 innings, 7 hits, 2 earned runs, and striking out seven.
Yeah, phenomenal stuff. And yeah, that win streak is right. It's up to 15. They are 17-1. They are running
Woo!
away with the Southern States regular season right now. I'll tell you what, I'm interested. When are they playing Thomas? That's got to be yeah, this weekend. They play Friday. I'll tell you what, if I wasn't heading up to Texas, I might just head home to Thomasville, Georgia,
Yeah,
and
seriously.
check that one out. That's going to be an absolute banger of a Peach State rivalry there. Carly, speaking of a rivalry, Central Methodist and Benedictine, they saw a lot of each other last year, and they did not disappoint in their first meetings this year. Two one-run ball games. In game one, Central Methodist would win it 4-3. Rihanna Martin solo shot got it started for the Ravens to take a lead, but then Dally Garland would single to score Lauren Hill. And Elizabeth Palumbo scored Rachel Brandt to make it 2-1 in the second inning. Central Methodist would extend their lead 4-1 on RBI singles from again Elizabeth Palumbo, who will continue to stay in All American talks along with Jolie Kreider, who added RBI single. We got to give credit to Coach Pat Reardon, and we got to give credit to Veronica Dirth, who has stepped up phenomenally. We knew there would have to be an arm for that would need to step up. I think a lot of people wrote Central Methodist off, with everything that happened this off season. But the sophomore has stepped up in a big way for them. She threw 6 innings, allowed 3 runs on 7 hits, struck out three against a very stout, very power heavy lineup. Like I said, Martin, who's having a phenomenal sophomore campaign for the Ravens, had a solo shot early. She settles in. Cassidy Brent picked up the save, striking out one there in the seventh inning. And game two, Chloe Perkins and Bailey Selvage just tossed masterpieces in the circle, but Bailey Selvage came up on top. And I tell you, the last month and a half, Selvage has been, I would say, uh, I thought about maybe top five, but I would that's tough. But I could definitely say Selvage has been a top 10 pitcher in NAIA softball after a little bit of a tough start to her junior year. She has gotten back and against one of the best lineups in the country, Central Methodist. She tosses a shutout, and Elena Varia, the RBI single and the six was the difference. Carly, we're running. Let's just talk real quick. Let's run through the matchups. I'll talk Monday. You talk Tuesday. I'll talk a little Wednesday, and then we're gonna send the folks to the interview. And let's go watch the last college basketball game of the season.
Let's
We
do it.
got well, actually, it's already past Monday, so we'll just talk Tuesday, Wednesday. Yes. Sorry, folks. You know, we tried to record last night, didn't work out. So we're recording
Yep.
Monday night. We're getting it to you. But hey, today, Tuesday, we've got some phenomenal ones, especially in the KCAC, but a real fun one in the GPAC Midland and Dakota Wesleyan playing at 2 and 4 Central Time in the KCAC. Big games and a thrilling regular season in the Kansas Collegiate Athletic Conference. Friends takes on Oakwoo, and Evangel takes on Avila at 2 and 4 Central Time. Probably the biggest difference as far as travel. Georgia Gwinnett is headed out to California. They've got a doubleheader with Hope International at 12 and 2 Pacific Time. Truett McConnell and Reinhardt will take each other on at 4 and 6 Eastern Time. Houston Victoria will play Olu at 1 and 3 Central Time. Those are our games to watch on Tuesday. Carly got a couple good ones on Wednesday as well.
Yeah, Rio Grande will be taking on Shawnee State, 3 and 5 Eastern time, and then Georgia Gwinnett will take on Westcliff at 4 and 6 at Pacific time.
Okay, we're going to send you into the interview with Coach Carter. But again, that talk about him one more time. This interview is brought to you by Magna. Go to drinkmagna.com. Use code NAISB15. Again, Magna, triple magnesium, electrolytes, no sugar, no caffeine, nothing but good stuff. And yeah, let's have a great weekend. Go to drinkmagna.com. Use code NAISB15. And again, this interview is sponsored by Magna. And here is that interview with Johnson University's Coach Dayna Carter. Okay, we now welcome on a very, very special guest. It is Coach Dayna Carter from the Johnson University Royals. As a team, we have been very open about the last about year or so. We have invested a lot of stock. I know everybody's stocks aren't doing so hot right now, but our Johnson Royals stock is doing pretty good. Coach, before we get into anything else, let's talk about a little interesting weekend with some wildlife y'all had down in the Peach State.
Yeah, so right before the game with Burnell was about to start, the people above the dugouts were screaming that there was a snake on the field. So one of the coaches ran out with a baseball bat, and as he was getting uh, tried to be bitten by the snake, he was able to kill it and then get it over the fence. And they said, well, just to let you know, that's going to happen a little bit maybe in right field. So let your right fielder know if she sees a snake just to start yelling.
Well, Devil went
Oh,
down to Georgia, and you said it
Yeah.
before. It was a
Anyway,
cobra, right?
yes,
That's
it
insane.
was. And it
Uh,
was striking.
well, Bernal, they've got a little bit of a home field advantage there. I think you can forget about a any kind of no doubles defense to right
Yeah,
field.
yeah, I just Googled Cobra and that's terrifying.
it
Yeah.
was. It was
We don't
big.
have those out here in Nebraska.
Yeah.
Well, Coach, like I said to start, we bought stock in Johnson softball last year. Well,
Thank
really
you.
happy. You've done a great job with the program there in Knoxville. Talk to us about why others should start believing in Royal softball right now.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think for the AAC as a whole, it's been a lot of Tennessee Westland, Reinhardt, even Milligan back in the day. We are brand new, so this program started in 2020. I took over in 2022. Um, and just really tried to dial into what I would expect as a college athlete or expected as a college athlete. But got a staff together that really started working on development. I think that a lot of times you can get good athletes and expect them to win for you, or you can get good athletes and develop them to be great athletes. So I think that's the thing, that's kind of the route we've taken, is to really deep dive into developing these girls into better. So I say that in saying this is our fourth year in the NAI, my fourth year coaching here, and we kind of had a plan of what we wanted it to be and where we wanted it to go. And we were kind of on this 5 year plan, like this is where we see ourselves in 5 years. And it's kind of gotten a little faster than we thought. So it's been a lot of fun. At the same time, it's been very stressful. But I mean, pressure is privilege, right? So there's high expectations, and I just refuse to change those.
Well, there's nothing wrong with being ahead of schedule, of course. And you've got some upperclassmen helping you, but you've got some young players as well. Madison, one who right now I would say is up there as far as a freshman of the year
Oh yeah.
consideration.
I need to tell you an interesting story about Madison,
Sure,
though.
go ahead, Coach.
Let's hear it.
So I actually coached Madison in high school, back to my old high school days, right?
Yeah.
She got recruited by a couple of D2 schools, phenomenal athlete. Okay. She never went. She decided to go to nursing school. She went to like a semester of nursing school, ended up getting married, has a 1-year-old baby, came to one of our games last year because she lives just minutes because where I coach is so close to her. Came to one of our games last year and came up to me afterwards and said, I think I'm coming to school here to be a teacher. And I wondered if I could try out for you. And I looked at her and I was like, Madison, you do not have to try out. We would love to have you. And she's like, Coach, I just don't know. It's been 3 years. I don't know if I can get back to that shape. And I'm like, don't worry about it. We'll get you there. And then look at her.
Wow.
Not your average freshman, to say the least.
No,
Yeah.
no, not your average freshman.
Well, Coach, going to your playing days, you were a phenomenal pitcher at junior college at Sacramento State, and then now the biggest brand in all of softball in well the world and at Oklahoma, Boomer Sooner. I know you're really proud of your alma mater and the state of the program right now. But what were those experiences like, and and how did that help you get into coaching, where you've had a phenomenal career as a high school coach and now on the path with college coaching, and we'll talk a little bit later on about your experience at Tennessee.
Yeah, it's I grew up in California, so we played softball 12 months a year. We went down to LA all the time for like Thanksgiving tournaments, Christmas tournaments. So we were playing softball when a lot of other states weren't. Now, I would say I was an above average high school player, but I didn't want to go to college after high school, ironically. Um, I was going to go to one of the JUCOs that was okay in softball and maybe play. And at my my high school graduation party, one of my best friends that I played summer ball with came to me and said, Hey, I'm at Sacramento City College, and my coach said, if you want to come work out with us, we'd love to have you. And I thought, I don't know. And I went out there and I fell in love with it. But what the greatest thing about that whole experience was, I had a pitching coach by the name of Kevin Trost, and he took me from good to great. Um, I was an All-American at Sacramento City College. I think my overall record was like a 45-3 with a .46 ERA. So I say that because if it wasn't for me getting there with him, I would not have been that pitcher. He made me that pitcher. So that was great. And then because of that, I had the opportunity to go play at Oklahoma. It was funny. I had my I don't know how it is today in Division One, but back then you could only take 5 visits. So you had to like make sure and plan out which ones you wanted to go to. And I went to Cal State Northridge first, which was my dream school, ironically. Wanted to go there, and I went and I pitched. So I went on my visit, and then my Sac City came and met me there, and we played in a play day the whole next day. And I had to throw against them that morning. So I threw a 1-hit shutout. The only hit was on a darn changeup, and it blooped over the shortstop's head. It's crazy that I still remember that. But I remember after the day I was with my parents and my team, and the coach came up to me and said, I really liked you. We really want you. It's all going to depend on money. If I have more money, I'm going to go after a freshman pitcher. But if I don't, I would really love for you. And I remember looking at him and saying, I will not beg anybody for a scholarship.
Right.
So if I'm not your first choice, then I'm going to move on. And that's what I did. I went to Oklahoma my second visit, and just for reference, like in California, college sports aren't that huge. They're big, don't get me wrong, but they're not as big as the professional sports. So I went to Oklahoma and they took me to a football game, and I thought, oh my goodness, what is this? I have never seen anything like this. So
Yeah.
called the rest of my 3 visits and said, I'm done. I'm going to OU. And my mom looked at me and said, you realize that we cannot come see you play. Like, that is a flight. And I said, that's what I want to do. I said, okay. So there I went.
Well,
Spent my last 2 years at Oklahoma.
needless to say, it definitely worked out, and now you can go back and watch the unreal job that Coach Gasso's done
Yes.
at this point. And I don't know. I would love for my Bulldogs to get there at some point, but the SEC is a little tough right now.
It is.
I'm just going to enjoy my Georgia football team, and we always got that Rose Bowl victory over y'all, Coach.
That's right.
One of my happiest moments.
I understand.
So Coach Reagan kind of alluded to your stint at Tennessee as a pitching coach. Can you kind of talk to us about what you gained from that experience?
Oh, that experience has made me the coach I am today. It was a phenomenal experience as far as just learning. I mean, so many people like work their way up to being a college coach, and I actually started opposite. So I dove into the psychology of it, the mental side of it, the what makes each player tick type of thing, besides just being a pitching coach. So being at Tennessee really allowed me to do that. I dove into meetings with the sports psychologist all the time. So I say that because I think that it was so holistic that I was able to take so many different things from it into what I'm doing today. For instance, some of the sports psychology, some of the things that we learned was you can't treat every player the same. They don't tick the same. They don't respond the same. You have to know each player and how they tick. One of the other things I learned from sports psychology, I cannot stand to hear somebody tell a pitcher, don't walk her. Like, that's the worst thing you
Yeah,
can say,
it's like I'm not trying.
Yeah, exactly. Um, so in our program, like we don't use negative terms at all, like at all. Everything is, working, and I'm not saying it's positive, only it's more neutral mindset. So that's really the kind of take that we take on it. And then the other big thing that I learned as a pitching coach, but also through the training that we got from it was, um, you're going to ask these kids to run through a wall for you, right? You can't talk down to them. You can't degrade them. They're not going to want to do that. So my the way my coaching style is more, I got your back, you get mine. Like, let's go, let's do this together. We're going to war together. So that's kind of that. Those are three really big things I learned while I was coaching there, besides learning, the developmental skills and all that.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
it was fun.
So are you Vols or are you Sooners? Do you have one you root for more?
Okay. That's a
Great
really hard
question.
question because when it comes to every other sport besides softball, I'm all Vol, except softball. I
Got to
am
go for the
totally
Sooners.
boomer. Yeah. And hey, Tennessee is so good. I love to
They
watch
are.
Carly Dickens throw. She
Hmm.
is just phenomenal. And they beat them 2 out of 3 times. And that's okay. I feel like I can't lose. But when it comes to them playing each other, I'm a Sooner.
I get
Yeah.
it. I get it. So before you rejoined the college ranks, going from Tennessee to Johnson, you spent 19 years as a high school coach. What made you want to rejoin college coaching, and what made Johnson the right fit for you?
Yeah. This is it was a weird time in my life. I actually, while I was coaching at Tennessee, I met my husband, who's from here. Never thought that would have happened being from California. But I was also, when our head coach left and went to Arizona State, I was pregnant with our second child. So I decided to stay. And as I was staying, I had high schools reach out to me, and I thought, do I want to do this? Like, do I want to coach high school? I don't know if I'm ready for that. Ended up doing it, loved it. The training from college really kind of helped me be the right type of high school coach and not just somebody out there to, obviously it's not a great paycheck, being a high school coach, but
Yeah.
um, I was doing it for the right reasons, right? Um, the funny thing about this whole thing is Johnson actually called me twice before this. One time they were still the NCCAA, which is the Christian Collegiate League.
Mm.
And there was no emphasis on winning. And the AD at the time said, now, if you don't win, it's okay. We're not going to fire you. We just need somebody to come in here. And I looked at him. I said, I am not your person. I am not. I am competitive to a fault. Like I hate to lose more than I love to win. So
I
I'm
was just gonna
definitely,
ask you that.
yeah, I was like, I am not your person. So then the new AD came and he called me and I went and met with him. And I just said, they were still NCCAA at the time, can't do scholarships, all that stuff. And I just said, if I'm going to jump back into this, it's got to be the right time and the right fit. And so when they decided to go NAI was when he called me again and said, all right, we're ready and we want you. And then I met with him and then I said, all right, I'm in. So, I mean, there were a lot of different, I think, facets that make it the right place for me. Obviously, location, it's right here. The great thing about this school as well, a lot of the NAI schools around here are in the middle of nowhere. We're kind of middle of nowhere, but 15 minutes one way is the University of Tennessee, and 15 minutes the other way is Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg and all that. So it's kind of like being in a small place with big opportunities around. So
Right.
it's
Yes,
fun.
perfect spot. Perfect
Yeah,
little
it
spot
is.
where you're not dealing with the traffic or, a big
Yes,
college atmosphere, which I know a lot of people like they go play in AI to, kind of
right.
get away from that. But hey, you want to go sit with another 110,000 people and watch Georgia beat Tennessee? Let's go do that real quick.
Exactly. And
Go
we
dogs.
actually use that as a recruiting tool except when Tennessee beats Georgia.
Right.
Hasn't happened in a long time, coach. Long time.
Listen, it happened. I remember a couple years ago, Josh Dobbs threw that Hail Mary, and
Mm.
sorry, bringing up bad
It's okay.
thoughts.
It's okay. We've done pretty well since
Yeah,
then,
you
Coach.
have.
We've done
I'm not gonna
okay.
lie. That's right.
I
That's
can't
right.
speak. I'm a Husker fan.
Yeah, yeah. Make a
I
ball
got,
game, Carly.
yeah, I
Let's
got
win a ball
nothing.
Now
game.
And
listen,
we
when I
did.
was
We
in
won one.
That's
Oklahoma,
true.
you guys were really good. So
Yeah.
Yes, I'm about to say
I
yeah.
wasn't,
Yeah,
I wasn't around for that, but
yeah,
when you
I think
were
about it.
in school there in the '90s at Oklahoma, Coach, that was Oklahoma,
That was
Nebraska.
prime Nebraska,
it was
Yeah,
Oklahoma.
fun. Yes,
yeah.
it was so much fun.
Well,
It's
Coach,
like
let's talk.
snow coming down. I know, I see that.
Let's talk about a team on y'all's campus that has been taking some big strides this year. We got to give a shout out to our guy real quick, Travis Hobbit-Siefkin, a guy. So, I mean, just a funny story, and everybody knows how it's a small world in college athletics. But a couple summers ago, I got to go up to New York and call baseball for the Saugerties Stallions. Travis was there. He tore it up. He ends up at Johnson. He's doing phenomenal. Y'all are ranked in the top 20. Just took
Yeah,
2 or 3 from the number 3 team in NAI baseball and
yeah,
Reinhardt. Talk to us about how cool it's been for both Diamond Sports seeing y'all at the top of the AAC, making strides forward. They're competing in one of the top conferences in NAI baseball.
yeah.
Just took 2 from Reinhardt. How cool has it been those programs to be receiving national attention?
Well, it's been phenomenal. It is just, I think to even just broaden it a little bit, our men's and women's basketball team made the national tournament for the first time this year.
Sure.
Like our baseball team is the first team that's, ranked. Our women's basketball team was co-champions in the AAC for the first time ever. So, I'm asking our girls, what's our legacy going to be? What are we going to be? So I'm one of those people, like I want every single sport on my campus to be good because that's only going to make us better. A lot of people don't like that competition. I do. I want it all. So, I remember 2 years ago, I've known Dave Serrano for a really long time. And I called him 2 years ago and I was like, hey, we're hiring a baseball coach. I know you have a lot of connections. Like, I know you've coached a lot of people and there's people just waiting to get into it. So, like, hey, give me some names. And he was like, I might be interested in that. I was like, there's no way. And then here he is. He's here building this program and doing a phenomenal job. Now, Haben Siefkin, I love that guy. He is awesome. I had to do the PA for one of their games, and I'm like, buddy, you're going to have to tell me how to say this name right here. He's like, it's exactly phonetically how it is. So I just saw him in the training room today. He's like, hey, did you talk to Reagan? I was like, I'm doing it tonight. So
He's awesome.
he said he'd give me a shout out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I texted him last night. He's awesome. I mean, just a great guy. It was great. And doing the college summer league. I think it's such a cool thing that I would love
It
to
is.
start seeing more and more. I know that there's a couple of college leagues. I'd love to see it more in the softball world, but that's a
I agree.
conversation
I
for
agree because there's a lot of
yeah.
those kids that could use it. And um,
Yes.
I know you don't know this, but my son is one of the GAs for Dave Serrano.
Okay.
So, of course, I want them to do well. But Hobbenseek and Travis is a huge part of the reason why this team is doing well. He's a
I mean, batting like 390 over right now. I mean,
yeah,
it'll
That'll play.
play.
yeah. Yep, he can play.
Um, so kind of turning back towards your players, coach, what do you look for in athletes when you recruit them to kind of fit into your culture?
Yeah, so the culture is a huge part to me. You can be a great athlete, but if you have a bad attitude or um, a selfish attitude, I don't want it. I need a team that, we're looking at players all the time. We want to watch them off the scene. Now, I will tell you, I've made some mistakes, and I've made them because at the very beginning, I had to get bodies, and I didn't invest the time needed to do that. Those people are not with us anymore. They're kind of filtered out. So we make sure to be very diligent in what we're looking at. Are they a good person? Will they fit our culture? Johnson is a Christian school. They have Bible classes, they have chapel. We want to make sure that that is something that they're open to, and will, represent the softball team well at. So I think just knowing them as a person, obviously they've got to be a great player, but that's not just it. They have to be a great person. They have to be coachable. They have to be respectful. They have to be a good teammate. So to me, there's a lot of different things that go into that. But we do a lot of legwork on it. When we come in and bring the girls in, we let them spend about 45 minutes with our players, just asking them any questions that they want that we're not part of. And we want them to get the raw answers. Sometimes I wish I could be a fly on the wall, but for the most part, I respect my players and I respect their opinions. So I want them to get that feeling, but then they always come to me and say, like, she got a little like this, or we really like her, or they kind of give me
Yeah.
that feedback. But I want to see that interaction. So yeah.
Coach, what do you think? Like I said, you love to be a fly on the wall. What do you think, or let me rephrase, if you were a high school athlete in an era that is, I mean, different from even when Carly and I were going through the recruiting
Right.
process and with the growth of the NAI and obviously the NCAA's transfer portal and
Yep.
both the leagues NIL, et cetera, et cetera. What do you think some of those top questions should be from those high school athletes?
Uh, well, I've had some really good questions. Some of them have been, what type of culture do you expect? Um, how do people earn playing time? It's crazy. I've talked to a lot of coaches at different levels, and a lot of the older ones are leaving because of those things that you're talking about, the NIL, the portal. And I think that's what makes the NAI so much fun, is that you can just go out and compete. And these kids are really good. I think back in the day, like, my day, and I'm in my 50s, that it was the NAI was more looked down upon, like lesser caliber athletes. That is not the case anymore. It is really not the case. Now, I'm not saying we could go compete with Tennessee. It's not what I'm saying.
Sure.
What I'm saying is these athletes are really good, and when you develop, and it's just so much more fun. It's I feel like it's freer.
Hmm.
We've had a couple of athletes we've had on recently. Anna Toon, who plays at St. Thomas and played at Montana. She was all Big Sky, and Annalise Jarvis, who's had a phenomenal
Yep.
four-year career in the NAIA. They said very similar things. And I encourage everybody, if you have not listened, go listen to what those two amazing student athletes have said. And their general answer, and Carly, one we've talked about something specifically. Annalise had pointed out was it's a business. College athletics is a business.
It
Period.
is.
Doesn't matter if it's D3 or SEC and anything in between. You don't feel like an employee at an NAIA school. You are cared for, you are loved, and I'm not saying that is not the case for Division I whatsoever.
Yeah.
However, there is like the five core values of the NAIA and the Champions of Character Initiative is real. It's not just blowing smoke up a chimney. It is
Right.
real. You can feel it. I played Division II for a season. It's okay. I don't have a ton of negative things to say about it, but my experience as an NAIA guy has been 1000% better. And I mean,
Yep.
I played football, and at my first fall playing football in 21, I was like, okay, I mean, this is solid. This is right around a lot of the D2s I played with. But when I got into broadcasting baseball down here in the Sun Conference, and I got to the World Series, and I'm seeing Emily Cerny for USAO. I'm watching Phil McSpadden do work. I'm watching Mobile, who was number 2 in the country at the time. I'm like, who's covering this NAI softball stuff? And if ain't
Yes.
nobody doing it, we need to get rocking and rolling.
Yeah. And so one of my assistants, Lauren Irwin, played at Tennessee, and she's been with the program now. I think this is her second year. Yes, her second year. When all of us coaches meet with the recruiting family, that's one of the things that she talks about. She said, I played at the highest level. It was transactional. It was, business. It was, I don't care about your body. Go catch bullpens. Um, and one of the things that she loves about this is this gives you the opportunity to love on these girls. It gives you the opportunity to invest in these girls and understand who they are and where their goals are, because at the end of the day, they're going to be, a businesswoman or a teacher. They're not going to be a professional softball player. So I think it's just being able to take that into account, because I am a mother. I have that attitude, and I actually mother the way that I coach. So I think it's important for those girls to feel that. And they do, they feel loved, and they'll tell every single person. You walk through our dugout, locker room, workout facility, anything, you will hear at least 10. Okay, I love you. I love you. I love you. Between all of us, it's not just coming from me. So I think that that's a huge part of it.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And you talk about that positivity thing, and I don't, she may kill me for spilling her secrets here, but I've said it before. But something I noticed at the World Series last year, I just got done reading an article a couple of days before on the benefits of physical touch. Like, I mean, just a high five, fist bump,
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
that. The Southern Oregon Raiders lead the country in high fives. I guarantee it. I mean, it is nonstop. Coach Pistol there, boom, 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 boom. Coaches, everything. And I'm like, I don't know if it's a direct correlation with three red banners, but there is
Something's adding up.
some
Yeah.
part of the pie charts there's got to do with all the high fives.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's the great thing about it is, because you do invest in these kids and you love them. And I'm not saying it doesn't happen at the Division I level. I'm just saying it is more of a business type situation in that sense. And this allows you, I feel like, a lot of life balance, of being able to
Mhm.
be a great softball player, but then also being able to be a great student and a great person and a great Christian. So I just think there's so many more facets to it that make this so fun to be a part of, that I honestly wouldn't leave to go do a Division II or Division I position.
Yeah. It's just different.
It is.
Um, so my favorite question to ask, um, what is your gas station order on a road trip? Snack, drink, something crazy. What's your go-to?
Gummy nerds, the nerd
The
cluster,
clusters? The blue or the red
100%,
bag?
the red bag for sure.
Yes. Yep.
The red
Good
bag,
answer. Right
gummy
answer.
clusters, and a Diet Mountain Dew.
Ooh,
That's all me.
that is some good
That's a
stuff.
Reagan answer.
That is a
Is
Reagan answer.
it?
That's a Reagan answer right there. Minus the
I'm
diet.
still mad. I'm still mad at your dog though for picking St. Thomas to win, because
Well, he had the win streak going. He lost it. He finally lost it. He's now 6-1-2, 6 wins, 1 loss, and a tie. Carly and I are about to do our midweek recap. I'm gonna get on him. A lot of respect for College of Idaho, but when he picked College of Idaho over Eastern Oregon, I just saw the win streak just start tumbling down right there.
you knew it. You're like, no, no, no.
But Coach, this was phenomenal. They really enjoyed having you on. If there's any closing statements you want to have about your program or anything for the rest of the year, go ahead. If not, we'll go ahead and send the folks into a busy midweek in NAI softball.
Yeah, I'll just say I'm just really excited about where we are and where we're headed, and our recruiting class for next year. It's crazy. The junior class that'll be seniors next year was my first signing class, so that'll be very
Oh,
sentimental.
yeah.
Um, but we have a huge class, so I did it to where we have a huge class coming in while they're seniors, and then a smaller class after that. But yeah, really excited, and I just appreciate the coverage because nobody heard of Johnson even 2 years ago, so the fact that we're even doing this just is phenomenal and awesome. So
Appreciate
thank
it.
you.
Of course.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time, Coach. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us for another episode of NAISB. Like we said, busy midweek, especially on Wednesday. A lot of great matchups. We will talk to y'all on Thursday. Have a good one.